learning from one of the best there. Hope you guys like it. How to play like a pro. Fun little series we do with these guys that we have in-house that teach you how to play some of their favorite characters. We're back, though, with the PCL. Thank you guys for sticking with us. We're here for our last set of the day. It's going to be Onslaught versus Big Money Esports. And Onslaught definitely a pretty strong team going into this one. But we've seen, a couple things go a couple different ways. Bust Down certainly looking very good as the underdogs in their matchup.
Yeah, and this one, the way to kind of look is that it's been the heating up versus Onslaught, kind of 1-2 punch, determining which team essentially gets to go to LAN in this case. Obviously, heating up coming out on top of the last matchup between these two. So this one is very much a Onslaught needs to win here in order to keep the pace.
Before we get down into the weeds, guys, let's go ahead and take a peek at the standings for EU Xbox. This is Cyclone now 9-0, 23 map plus minus, looking pretty much locked down for this region. Radiant Esports and of course Team Viral, the winless goobers that we just watched there, unfortunately unable to break that streak. We'll go ahead and take a look at the PS4 standings before we hop into the details of this final set of the day. PS4 not quite as close as some of these other regions might be, but one of the closer regions for sure between Heating Up and Onslaught. Like you mentioned, only one game separating these two, 3 maps in total.
Yeah, and it's really important you look at that map differential. So you imagine Heating Up will win against Low-Key Scheming and Big Money, and Onslaught will do the same. They'll win against Low-Key Scheming and Big Money. So then it just sort of comes down to, well, you have to beat Heating Up at some point, but then the map differential in these interim games. They're 3 back right now of Heating Up, so winning these games in as clean a way as possible is going to be really important as far as keeping pace with that one team.
One of my favorite players to look at when you're playing in these console leagues is these flexible guys who play a lot of different stuff. TKO Ghost for Onslaught comes to mind. He's had to play a lot of different stuff over the course of this season. A lot of hit scan. Hit scan is such an important role for these console teams to track down and eliminate their opponents. Yeah,
and TKO Ghost, well, he's one of the best to do it in this region. 2.4 KDA, 77,000 damage, 20-7 win-loss. I mean, he's sort of
pretty good.
The front end of the back line here for Onslaught, a guy who feels comfortable. I was going to say flexible again, but you can see here for yourself, he can play Leon. He'll toss out the damage Grok too, just to show you that he can do it all. I imagine he'll have a big day here against Big Money, and that's where a lot of their focus will be shifted.
Grok is definitely one that it's fallen off a little bit, not as a result of any buffs or nerfs or things like that, but just people have I think let it fall out of favor a little bit. Pretty fun to watch. I think you look at Prosper Logic. He's another guy that has brought this out in times past. And over on the side of Big Money Esports, Kev Falcon trying to definitely keep these shoes filled here, go toe-to-toe with great players like TKO Ghost. This is not going to be an easy task here, but as these backline DPSs need to sometimes take good duels with each other, tough duels with the Leon there. That's one of TKO's favorite characters, so if he can get a couple of good 1v1s, maybe a little Koga, I think that looks great today as well.
And I think that's sort of the big question mark. Can you keep pace with Ghost on the opposite side? Obviously, they have Galaxy as well, who will be supplementing some of that damage output for the Big Money side of things. They've had a tough go of things up to this point, but Kev Falcon's always sort of been one of those shining lights that week after week he's kind of shown that he can hold his own. You can rely on him to do some damage, but as you said, I think the big thing to look at here is can he keep pace with Ghost on the other side.
Well, Stonekeep, Frozen Guard, Shattered Desert, and Timber Mill are the map bans for the set Onslaught versus Big Money Esports as we load into draft. First bands coming out on the docket now will be Vivian. Things unlikely to change there. You've got your hit scans that are very, very favorable. Your Talus, your Vivians, maybe even Tyra, right? Anything with an AR, these guys love to run.
I was going to say, and one thing that we've sort of seen today, throughout the PCL just in general, but today especially in a lot of these games, is the high priority on Victor coming out as one of the first few picks, because more often than not he's the lone hit scan sort of AR damage dealer that's left. But a lot of players sort of realizing, although he might not be the highest priority, say frontliner or healer that's around, depending on how their damage dealers are, I mean, this is really sort of a Flashpoint Cyclone-centric thing.
Sure.
But if you can get one of those carries on the Victor, it it can really propel your team forward, maybe more so than getting a Khan Atlas. But that's a strong 2. You get the Khan, you get the Atlas as well. And in a period of aggressive frontline play, those are a good couple drafts.
We saw some Pip come through earlier, as well as
Are
Makoa. I
made
thought
by
the
the
Pip,
pets they
despite
choose.
losing overall,
Not the
it's still
powers
it's
they
like
were graced
18 and 7 or
Yeah.
something like that. It was
Yeah.
very, very good slash line. Jaguar Falls has been a very, very good map for Pip in the
This
PPL.
land is
I
now
think this is
under
a
water's
pick that
protection.
might not be getting looked at enough.
Yeah.
Some guys might want to be looking at, bringing that out. Brings a lot of flexibility, great ultimate, good damage, good burst healing. It's almost like a Khan level of hybrid, but in terms of damage and mobility.
No, I hope that. I think that's a pick that I really hope starts to see come through just a little bit more for all the reasons that you said, but especially for some of these teams that aren't as solidified on top. I mean, you have a game-changing ultimate in that if your team tends to lose a lot of team fights more and you land good evil mojos, it can really help supplement some of those losses that you're facing. So maybe we'll get to see a little more Pip. Not sure if it'll come out in this case. Still potentially around for big money, but Onslaught's going to go a different route.
Well, last 2 frontliners picked up here for Onslaught in the 8th and 9th selection spots. Ash and Barrick will be the choices. Frontlines just not prioritized after seeing Khan and Atlas locked in. You can take your time picking that one. Brought up the Grok a little bit here, and we will see play in game number 1.
Yeah, I was excited to see him come out in some of the highlights. I think that although he's not necessarily as in favor as he once was, he's still a guy that can make a big impact, especially on a map like this where some of the fights are happening in more enclosed spaces, good tempests, and they can change things around.
Well, it's a good pick to snowball, get you off to an early lead. Jaguar Falls lends itself to it. Let's get it down to the casters, get game 1 underway.
Thanks, guys. And you know what? Doing the thing that I couldn't do, which is a no computer desk at all. No computers from those guys. Really unplugging for the cast. I appreciate that.
I feel like the teams also took it in a direction, compared to what we last saw. But
they
pick up
unplugged
healers.
as well.
They made sure that they had whatever they wanted. 2 supports on the team does help to have some healing come through.
Yeah.
Will it help enough? I mean, I saw, Genos, Victor, Imani as the first 3 picks for Onslaught. And that kind of hurts when you're on the other side, just seeing those 3 all together.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. A lot of damage, a lot of
ouchies.
Yeah, a lot of ouchie ooze, oochie ahs, and maybe a lot of ooze and ahs. Because who doesn't ooh and ah when someone tells you where the guap's at? They say, hey, yo, the guap's right here. You go, oh, ooh, I'm there. And that's what we need from this Genos here. Of course, Ghost with the Imani and Fiery Impact. Gonna have to have a Fiery Impact, but I trust them.
I mean, at this point, I think we have, I want to say Big Money, who has been, I don't even want to use the phrase on the rise, but looking better, right? They've cleaned up a lot of the stuff that was going wrong early on, and now they've been able to move forward to either tackling other issues or potentially even looking better than ever, depending on how they continue going. But Onslaught, there's a reason right now they are tackling up on top, and I think we're going to see it.
Fiery Impact just came through, had way too much burst damage. And that's the benefit of burst, because it forces you to react faster than you had anticipated. Maybe you're not ready for your heal. You're focused on doing damage. Really nice lead on the grenade as well. He'll get the reset because he, and there's the other one that we just saw. Didn't get enough damage, but he hit 2 people, so that's beautiful. Little intricate part about that at Atlas walls, it will kind of stay above you if you are on an elevated ground. So Ash has the ability to kind of poke him underneath the shield, unless he's very, very careful with that. But already Onslaught with an easy first point.
And this is one of those things. Khan, Atlas, it's a really good combo in the right hand, but you have to play very aggressively. Like, you have to play like you have no care in the world, right? You need to get into their face like it doesn't matter if you die, and you need to take the fight to them. Unfortunately here, it seems like Big Money are just playing too passively for these 2 front lines to have the impact I think that you want. Here comes a barrage just to kind of reinforce that, but a nice little exile. Saves 40% for Fire.
Wow, and
does stop the damage.
And cancels the ult core. I mean, that's actually really great. I wonder what happens with the crossfire, because it felt like he got out of that. I wonder if the crossfire would continue on like Tyra, like non-CC immune ultimates. How does that interact specifically? I don't think I've seen that yet, but very, very cool. And great counter there. Good unstable Fissure, minute 30. Really Fiery Impact having the most impact by far, in my opinion. Everyone else playing great, but his damage has just been undeniable.
That's one of the things to come down. Victor, 9K right now, almost 10K. If he keeps pushing the envelope, he's going to continue expanding that number, is probably one of the best champions in terms of damage. There you're going to see. Overall, Barrage not find too much of an impact. Maybe find a little bit of control. They do still find some kills.
Oh.
Nice little setback. Saves maybe a little bit of time there, but NBKD still goes down.
Yeah, and at this point, Kev Falcon looks like he's falling. He's got a lot of eyes on him, and the grenades, they keep flowing. All that healing has to stay towards him, too, which means he cannot give any to his front lines. And so Kev Falcon hoping to get some healing from the Ceres. It's definitely happening, but TKO Ghost gives enough. And another exile. It's not going to matter. It's all Onslaught in game 1.
Fast enough that I'm not even sure Overpowered got to charge in that game. Got to 73% at the very end, or in that round, I should say, as Onslaught just continued to, well, push the envelope as hard as they could. BME, Big Money Esports here, locked pretty much inside their base. Loaded is going to be what Onslaught, I would say, is. I mean, they have so many good champions as well as good players driving those champions that you have to find very specific picks, and I just don't know. I mean, between Kev Falcon and Galaxy, they have the capabilities, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Grok, we say it all the time, great with pressure, really average without it, and honestly subpar in many scenarios. They did lose track of fiery impact, so if that changes, things can be very, very different. Very aggressive here, and already isolating, separating, and then applying some offensive pressure. One of the things I think is just very smart to do is, you know, get offensive and then kind of maybe back off, force them on their edge, but this time not working out for them at all. MBKD and Galaxy finding many kills here in this fight.
And that's what I wanted to see. You have Atlas, you have Khan, you have Grok. Like, everything on your team works if you get aggressive. Get in their face. Go take the fight to them. Fight them as hard as you can. Push them off of the objective. Take control of the game. And that's what they do at the beginning of this round. They find a couple of kills there, but they don't maintain as much of an ironclad grip, I think, as you would like to see, as you see Onslaught not only come back and move on to the point, but pretty much push out and almost kill off Big Money Esports.
Oh, they're going for the dragon here. I think everyone's got to just watch the angles. At this point, I mean, they should be dead here. MBK, I don't think Battle Shout, yes. And does he get the healing? Oh, he can't get through. Really nice min-max at that moment, knowing where the dragon can go and where it can't. Convergence coming through as well. This might just be Big Money Esports point.
I mean, just at this point, doing whatever they can. Dancing around it, 46%. They have some control. They have some semblance of the fight left in them, but Little Big White Boy going to be able to get rid of Galaxy, open up a little bit more room. Yeah, Falcon coming around the side, and Grok is just such an interesting pick in this kind of scenario because of the healing he can do right there, dropping the totem about 100 units away from where he stands. And because of that, keeping his team in the fight, being able to dance around this corner, and of course the pulse shot being able to bounce through Little Big White Boy to the rest of Onslaught.
And now it's starting to get very, very desperate for Onslaught. Kev Falcon, this is what we're talking about with that pressure, able to basically secure it up. I thought the dragon was ambitious. It did seem to put him at a bit of a risk, and therefore TKO not able to make it happen. It'll be Big Money Esports with a chance to push and have their hand at an offense here. Onslaught looking to defend for the first time in a few. And MBK definitely doing a good job of kind of staying on this high ground, but he's out of cooldowns except for the shield. And this could break very, very soon. He'll most likely go back to base. In fact, the other shuttle will guarantee that just now.
A couple of good shots, and Barrick making, I want to say, a solid difference. Unfortunately, during the last .5, wasn't able to stand, I think, as stalwart as he wanted to. Did get bullied off the point a few times, which is why Big Money was able to come in and I just move him off the point.
Yeah.
But his damage, and it's one of those things that will always depend on the player, but when you have someone like the other Shutter running this, it's not going to be negligible. It's going to be something that is almost highly impactful every single step of the way, and can lock down and kill off some of the high DPS. So Leon, as well as this Grok, as well as the Ceres, do need to be a little worried about it. Ceres and Grok do have their own ways of dealing with it to get out of it. Leon, if she gets locked down, she gets locked down.
Ghost is so scared, thought he saw a Ghost there. Runs in, has about half health, trying to escape, and sees 3 members ready to chow him down. So finds that early exit from the fight. Or a little late when you look at it, as his teammates had gone down a little bit quicker before this secondary push up the hill of Jaguar Falls into Onslaught's base. Big Money Esports trying to find one more, but where to Guap captures a beautiful kill with the through time in space. Setup, and they will stabilize again.
Just holding on to whatever they can. Unfortunately for Big Money, Galaxy loses his life right there. 40 seconds left, so he should be able to respawn and rejoin his team. But if they stagger this out,
close.
They skirt the edge of the map. If they stagger this out, I feel like you're skirting the edge of the point. This should be a defense.
Calculated, but I mean.
But how much though?
How much though? Really, really.
I calculated that I probably wasn't going to die.
I calculated that I had a chance of not dying, but I didn't know if I would. I think we all found out at the same time he wasn't going over that ledge. They will have a chance to touch here, and he's gonna get rooted. But already taking up the high ground and a pretty good commander's grab. It's Mitchell. He does have the send back in time. He's going to get hit by Cirrus as well. So looking very good. Very low members on the side of Onslaught. They almost baited them out perfectly here. Will he activate the Exile? No. Galaxy finds the kill, but TKO I think finds 2, and that may just be enough.
A couple of shots right here. You're dancing as Khan between 3 members. And he comes out with a kill. That honestly seems like more of a mistake than anything. Not everyone locking him down. But they get the zone. They lock out Cirrus. They lock down the objective. And they keep themselves going. They can spare where to Guap because he gets a fun slash line with 1, 4, and 20.
Yeah.
So they get to at least laugh at that while they go to the next turn.
At this point, you just have to make sure that you approach these next fights without getting caught off guard, and I think that's what happened with Onslaught last round. Ash was just forced to use that shoulder bash and got aggressive to try to create space, get back to her healer, but the healing wasn't there in time and goes down a little quickly. Now it's really up to Fiery Impact to rotate, maybe make that late rotation yet again. But he's got to do it against ultimates, and the Tempest really does go at his weakness, which is although he has constant movement, he doesn't have burst movement, and he can get run down very quickly.
This approach to the fight is probably going to be the biggest thing. Tempest is available. It's going to be popped to come over the corner, looking for potentially someone in the back, but not finding TKO, who is incredibly low there, and he's going to be able to get out alive. So mostly Salty, Kev, Falcon, all going to be able to stay alive. You can see there, Galaxy does kill off the Amani, though. So while the Dragon is out, he can still hunt the control.
And it's hard to point fingers at the 2 front lines, but if you're looking in the side of Kev's POV, everyone else makes the wrong decision. He gets 3 members essentially dead, and if anyone else is there, they've got to clean up on this fight. Insane min-max here from NBK to avoid the shots. The battle shouts, the overpowers, and the commander's grab. Onslaught, though, already about to win the game. He can't make it there. Are you kidding me? What did I just witness?
Is there anything more awkward than the, I'm going to make it to the point, guys?
Grandpa Khan over there. We need a new old man skin for him. He's just like,
that's, you know, I'll be honest, he might be young and agile, but it's just all that armor weighs him down to the point where you are slow. Unless he's bought Nimble 3, he's not making it at that point in time.
Definitely didn't have Nimble 3 on that one. Onslaught take the victory, although pretty decent min-max from the Khan. Let's see what the desk has to say about that as we head to Game 2.
Well, congrats to Onslaught. It's not exactly the unforeseen outcome there, and a little funny antics down the stretch there. Big man just couldn't make it to the line of scrimmage in time.
So dangerously close. I mean, it wouldn't have changed anything, I don't think, either way at the end of the day. But kind of my storyline, the thing I noticed, and this has kind of been the case for Big Money the entire split so far, is that they have really good moments of light. Like, you saw NBK on the Con there towards the end. Looked really, really good here and there, but it's just putting it all together into one cohesive game that's kind of been going short here. A couple bright spots, though. Onslaught, they looked pretty good across the board. Fiery Impact, we mentioned TKO is kind of the guy to look at, but when you get Fiery Impact on the Victor, he's going to have a pretty big impact as well.
Part of this is drafting, you know, a nice little Barrack and Ash to create a bunch of space. When this Victor really goes unpressured for a while, it can be super, super deadly. Saw a lot of burst mode today, but pulling out the shrapnel for Jaguar Falls, I like this. A lot of line of sight breaks, a lot of ways to leverage this grenade. One of the few abilities that can do damage out and around lines of sights, corners, things like that. And the AR still does damn good damage, even up close. You don't necessarily need the increased fall-off curve that burst mode will provide you.
No, and honestly, I think you said it best. Fiery Impact was able just to kind of hang back, while Lil Big White Boy on the Ash was able to get in there, make some space. Fiery Impact just kind of hung back, poured out the damage, and carried his team to the end there.
That's a very old school style of Victor as well as we move on to Split Stone Quarry. So knowing the the physics of the grenade, how it bounces, how it skitters, things like that to get it in exactly the right spot. Playing with the fuse time as well, that's all really cool mechanics, and that's why I always say, Victor's a very simple, pretty straightforward character, but there's a lot of little nuances and things that you can get better at to master fully that entire kit, which does remain pretty simple and very, very good feel on console as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a way of saying it is there's sort of a baseline of how good Victor is. I mean, he's a champion that you can pick up easily, get some good damage, and easily help your team win, but if you master those small things, you can really push them sort of to a different level, and a little bit of that in the last game, Fiery Impact, showing us what Victor can really do. Talus, though, been banned out pretty frequently throughout the day. The damage, the burst. I mean, I guess you can call it burst when you pop in the overcharge and the damage just flying out. You call that a little bit of burst. So Big Money seeing the opportunity to get that through and taking it. So I'm happy with them going that route.
Genos and Atlas taking the place of Tyra and Talus down there in the ban, so expect those to likely come through. Tyra always pairs well, I think, with the rare flanker that we do see on console, marking somebody up. They take extra damage from all sources, any of your teammates, from any, not just shots. That's definitely an important distinction to make. Things like Luminary just improve your auto attack damage, right? From your rifle, your gun, whatever it is, your flower wand if you're playing Willow, whatever your weapon of choice might be in Paladins. But the Hunter's Mark is damage from all sources. Field Study Torval is damage from all sources, and that's important to know.
The Makoa coming through as well, and that's kind of been the beneficiary of other bans being a little higher priority here in the console scene. Vivian, Torvald, Genos, Atlas, pretty standard as far as that goes, but again, that opens things up like the Makoa to come through. So Big Money had a bit of a lack of frontline presence in the last game, some big moments, but Onslaught were really able to control that battle there in the trenches, which allowed Fiery Impact to kind of sit back and do the damage, so they're maybe correcting that a little bit here. I like the Makoa, I like the Inara. I think that fixes some things that I saw last game.
I don't know what the last pick is going to be here. Strix Free Fire could be a problem for them, but there's a lot of HP, damage mitigation, healing throughput right now that I just don't see Onslaught having the damage to get through this Victor. May not be enough. Mani's definitely something big that can step up to the plate, bring the Dragon through. Strix will be able to take it down fairly quickly, though. I don't know if many Strixes are going to be wanting to build into Bulldozer. It's a high, 1,200 damage is a good number to scale off of with Bulldozer, at least.
No, I really like the Makoa here. I think he'll be good at controlling this game, but Onslaught, well, they're just playing really good Paladins here.
Yeah, well, let's get it down to the casters for Split Stone Quarry. Game number 2 coming at you.
Oh, it's not coming at us anymore. It's here. Game number 2 in our final set of the Paladins Console League. Gore, the moment is upon us.
We have Strix.
And we have
Strix,
a
we got Talus coming through. We have a Makoa, and all three of them are on one team, which is a dangerous game to be playing. But against it, you got the Victor, you got the Imani, which TKO played pretty well last game, and they get the Khan this time. So I would say, again, when it comes down to like power picks and things that are going to be strengths on this map, I want to say it's a little even, maybe even leaning towards Big Money. But I just don't know how well it's going to translate to point control. I think that revolves kind of around Talus if the fight's going to be down here.
Ooh! A little close.
He's got like a small cut on one of his feet now.
Definitely a little close.
Carving in the ice.
Galaxy looking for anybody and everybody and finding absolutely no one. And the fact that his team has vision on everybody as well, confusing me just a little bit. Maybe looking, no, where there's nothing to find. However, opportunity now has been given to him to see a few targets, have a clear line of sight as to where they are, taking a little bit of damage, but he's not under pressure, so it's going to be a tough one. I think for Big Money Esports to really work with until the Talus ultimate comes online.
And this is actually probably the perfect scenario for Onslaught, where they're just fighting under the bench. What are you going to do? You're either going to jump down here and fight us, which is a bad idea for Strix, or you're going to stay up there, and this is going to be a 4v5. All we have to worry about is this Talus and this Makoa. We lock them down, all of a sudden, seems like an easy fight. Kev Falcon, unfortunately for him, is in the position where he has to make these huge plays, has to make this huge difference, and Onslaught are expecting it.
You're absolutely right. And so what shifts now is the priority, because Big Money have this advantage with this sniper, this range, and this damage, but they can't access it with the way that Onslaught are playing. So now Big Money have to use the Makoa, the Inara, the Talus to push them out of that cubby into lines of sight of the sniper, yet they haven't been able to do that successfully because Onslaught have a very good opportunity to control the space with the Amani and, of course, the Fernando and the Khan. So it's a very difficult situation, but it's going to have to be done that way. Otherwise, the 4v4 is definitely going to favor Onslaught, I think.
And honestly, a lot of that comes down to the fact that when you're looking at him, Moldamba, he can heal a lot of people at once. But it's not going to be near the throughput that Sarah's has. As long as Cauterize...
And so can she with Void Abides now into the, the main
point.
kit.
So being able to have that, the Immortal comes through right here to kind of keep things rolling for him. But having that mass amount of throughput healing overall from Saris in a small engagement, especially at the beginning of the game, it's so heavily in Onslaught's favor that you, end up in a scenario like this. They're looking at a 2-0.
Yeah.
As time goes on, that should fall off. Cauterize should make at least the Void Abide part, the splash healing that Sarah's has, be way lesser.
Yeah.
And then even on the target that she's main healing, it will start to hurt a little more. But there was a single kill that entire round onto TKO, and it was by Galaxy done. So it was not the best round, I want to say, for Big Money Esports as far as the Splitstone Quarry map in general.
Well, I mean, you see a Khan, and it's an interesting question. What in theory should happen and what is happening? Because it's so hard to say that the theory is going to be in actuality what unfolds, because the theory is saying everyone does everything they're supposed to do, but that almost never happens. So given the fact that someone's going to overperform, someone will underperform, what is the line of consistency that you can find between, okay, given this person may not play great, this person probably will, what do these champions bring? And just the raw healing from Khan by himself and the AoE spread of that, plus the Void Abide seal, plus the Amani control, big time stuff. Tries to go over the hook, but MBK, after he uses that, he has to go into the ultimate, and hopefully this is it, because if not, there is nowhere else for them to win this fight.
Well, there's no Immortal available, but it definitely doesn't seem to be working out for MBK.
Oh,
he does stay alive through all of that, but he loses a teammate. They trade out because Kev Falcon does flank around, get rid of the Amani while she's piloting that dragon. But this is the key moment, right? Everyone on Onslaught immediately runs back to where it's safe from the Strix. They go under the bleachers, they're playing the point. They have enough shields between the two front lines they picked up to just kind of ignore him. And of course, with an overpower, that's
Wall?
Get rid of Makoa free card. By doing...
Oh, no, what are you
still
doing?
Blocking. Why not hold on?
Oh, no. He's going to get the kill anyway. But, man,
It
great.
took him 2 seconds longer.
It did take him 2
He's not
seconds
mid-max.
longer. You know what it did? It gave them hope, like, can he survive? And it actually pulled the Inara away instead
At
of
first
realizing
I
she was just done.
I was petrified.
Thinking how and I would live without you by my side. And then you'll spend so many nights throwing you up in the spikes. And I grew stronger. I bought myself a pair of Nikes.
I was wondering where that was going to go with the rhyme, and whenever I run out of the rhyme, I just drop it. But
Nikes,
I like
dude.
that you stuck with it.
Yeah,
because it made it well worth it.
Well, you got to go there for the fans. Real treatment there. And at this point, Onslaught have played this so much better. I mean, there's a counter that Big Money have. Onslaught have countered that. Big Money haven't made any adjustments. And as a result, don't look like they're going to win this one, but they're fighting back valiantly. It's just Onslaught who end up getting that little touch. And as a result of the pull, MBK actually went off the point and pulled Fernando onto it to secure the objective.
Now, I might need a replay of that to watch it.
It's definitely what happened.
But I am 100% positive that Fernando was leaving the point.
Gore, that ragdoll, I'm sorry. We need a replay of that ragdoll for sure.
We need the point capture and the ragdoll.
We need that, because that was the most ridiculous ragdoll I've seen.
Well,
continue.
Fernando's leaving the point.
Yeah.
Makoa hooked him and swung him around to where his team was. No one else on his team was on the point. Fernando lands there, and then the objective captured showed up. I 100% think Big Money captured the objective against themselves.
I think they did.
I think they forcefully made
It's
Onslaught
99.
get the point.
Hey, wait, get back here. It's not 100 yet. Whoop.
That's an awkward feeling. I don't know how to break that one down other than to say that. Like, you feel bad if you're Big Money, but you also kind of feel bad if you're Onslaught because you don't think you earned it.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, oof, well,
I gotta earn this one.
Yeah. It's one of those where, you definitely want to feel like you earned it, but these guys, they want to win. too. Come on, I mean, a lot of competitors here.
Yeah.
But
they're not going to look at the gift horse.
they're like,
now.
hey, all right. I'll take it. Won't think too much about it. Oh, but those replays, I need to see them. I want to see them.
Mainly the rack.
Mainly. But yeah,
but also that point
objective
catch. Because I just want to know if I saw it correctly at this point. Because like, there's a chance I'm wrong, and I'd love that to be the case.
I don't think you are.
I heard a hook. I saw Fernando do this,
Yeah.
and then I saw objective captured, and he was the only one on the point.
The only one there died instantly. I don't see how else that could happen, but excited for you guys to break it down. Oh, and here we go. And oh yeah, here's
the
the greatest ragdoll of all time. You know, it wasn't like embarrassing enough to. I mean, it's like 90-degree. Wow. That is some power right there.
Imagine the force behind Khan
has been hitting the gym. Let's send it back to the desk and break all that down.
Aren't owls like an endangered species? I mean, that's just...
it's like playing bumper pool with Trickster.
Pete is going to be coming after Khan, right? You can't be abusing animals on stream like that.
I know. I mean, is he technically like a hybrid human owl? I don't know what his background is.
He's
Whatever it
fully
is.
adorned the owl hood.
Whatever it is, that would have been a yeet from you.
Yeah.
I'm sure if we were in there casting. An unfortunate bounce there. He might have survived if the bounce went the opposite way, but...
And I mean, damn, the front lines there bringing out some
Yeah.
heat. 8-1, 3-1 for Little Big White Boy and the other Shutter here. Pretty good combined slash line for the front line.
Yeah.
A lot of space created for the back line to do their thing as well.
You know, Nick, I mean, there's a lot of breaking down that can be done, but at the end of the day, I think that Onslaught just played a really complete team game in this case. The front lines, you had Khan and Fernando playing a really good game that opened up space for Guap, Ghost, Fiery Impact to just kind of sit back, do their thing. And honestly, that's what culminates. A clean 4-0 is really what culminates from something like that. Onslaught are just playing really good Paladins right now.
And down the stretch, there was a lot of random things that for some reason didn't result in payoff or kills. And I'm talking about Makoa diving TKO Ghost, forcing him to cancel a dragon, getting a couple shots off, but then he was just able to Frostfire glide away. Then that Makoa moves over to rotate onto this Victor, who barrages as best he can, gets a ton of damage out, but gets left alive at 1 HP. So many people surviving 1 HP dives for Onslaught. They were able to kind of complete the dunk 4-0 there. Frog Isle will be what potentially the last map here, as it is map number 3 of this best of 5. 4-1, 4-0 have been the score lines in the first 2 games. No real reason to believe Onslaught is going to slow down here. Atlas first banned in game 3.
Yeah, Torvald soon to follow. I think you said it pretty well. No reason to think that things are going to go the opposite direction here. Snipers is kind of where I keep my eye on this. We've seen teams opt to go with just one sniper on one side, but if today has proven anything, it's that just because you have a sniper when the other team doesn't on Frog Isle, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to come out on top of this one. Talus, again, I like this pick. We saw it for big money last game, but sort of on the back foot. Hard to really benefit, hard to really thrive as a flanky champion when the rest of your team isn't alive, turning heads, giving you the space to get in here. So I imagine we'll see sort of a better Onslaught, or excuse me, a Talus performance here from Onslaught. Both snipers still around though. Khan and Saris good for big money as well.
I have to say, Torvald's really the only pick on PC and console that feels like it's as damn near as a guaranteed win as it gets when you play it well. Talus sometimes makes it through on console, but is not like the instant win type of character. It's not so overwhelming that it's just impossible to deal with. You could see Skeppy got it earlier, and they were still pushed kind of the limits there. It was not the easiest thing. Or was that Skeppy that got it? Somebody got it earlier on Stone Keep. Had a pretty good game with it, but overall, it was not quite like as free as a 100% ban. If anything, I would say Vivian is probably more consistent than Talus in terms of that hit scan threat.
It did kind of have a tough game on Stone Keep today, though. I talked about teams having maybe a one sniper advantage. Big money are going to get a pretty distinct range advantage, honestly, in this one. But the thing to look at, though, is that the Talus can get up in your face if you're the Kinessa. Ashe can get up in your face as well. Honestly, Onslaught have a very frontward aggressive lineup here that I think will make life a little bit harder for the Kinessa. And then the Pip as well. I mean, the dive comp is complete. Obviously, the Grok now coming out as the healer. But they're going to make life tough, I think, for the Kinessa.
Yeah, this is an interesting composition drafted by Onslaught, but one that can definitely hit you fast and hit you hard with Tempest and Evil Mojos and things of the like. Let's see if Onslaught can lock down the 3-0 victory in our last set of the day.
Time to see if Onslaught can lock down the victory as they set on the desk. It would seal it up for the set, for the game, and for the day. And that would be just the type of 3-0 that you'd want to see.
The way they want it. And they go in.
You found your water bottle.
I did find my water bottle.
Can't have Gore without, can't have you dehydrated, buddy, because
leaving it on the desk.
You know, Savage Gore comes out when he doesn't have enough water, or
the battle has begun.
He doesn't bring lunch,
or the team doesn't bother trying to play.
But really the first two, but yeah, a little
mainly
bit of
the first two.
one.
Definitely without lunch. Most of the time I remember my lunch.
You do.
Most of the time.
Little fact about Gore, packs a good lunch nearly every day. Makes me jealous.
It's an okay lunch, which is a
self-cooked.
Oh man,
yeah.
I need to throw this in the oven as fast as I can because I have 10 minutes before I need to leave.
I don't judge your chicken tenders, buddy, and no one else should. All right, 54% counting. First blood.
Sometimes some tendies are what you need.
Sometimes you need some tendies. Pip knows about that. He likes making fried chicken as well. Full pine style, that's for sure. Evil Mojo not quite charged up yet. 35%, relatively low amount. Is this a non-catalyst Pip? It actually is. It is a Mega Potion Pip. So very interesting here. You're going to see a lot of differences. What is his loadout? Wait, why did he not get the reset there? What's going on here?
He's got the Moxie 4.
All right, he does have reload.
Reduce his healing whenever he hits that.
Very interesting.
So that's going to be the big one, is looking at reload for every time they're grouped up, he hits a big heal. It is almost an instant reset. It can be an instant reset if you hit enough people. So being able to play this probably the proper way. Not exactly the way you see Pip, not exactly who I expected to see playing a Pip either. TKO, who at this point has been on a Monty all set.
On a heal Pip. I mean, it's a little interesting.
That had to have been a, well, we've got Grok and Talus. We kind of need a support, but we also want Pip.
But we also want Pip. Instead, and you know what? You're right. Like, instead of saying we'll go kind of hybrid healers, 2 hybrid healers, we're just going to go 1 full healer, and we're going to go full hybrid for Grok. And it's not the bad call because Grok counters a couple of things pretty well, especially the Inara. But it's going to be an interesting one if you could pull it off. That should be a kill, and it is. Would have probably knocked her off as well. This one won't. Gets the shield up in time, and BK backing off. But he gets, forced to the high ground. Now he's got to climb the stairs or go the back way. And he's going to do that.
Back way it is as they go backwards. Onslaught just pressing them into the base. Big Money has no room to really come out. And the payload's just now hitting 3/4 of the way through. Here comes the Dragon. The question is, how long will this last through? Fire Impact teleports on out. It's looking to burn down little big white boy. You're not finding a whole lot.
What?
Just spraying the
He
damage
missed
is
him.
not looking too good. You're going too slow. At least you get a kill. But it took you a while to get there. Maybe 2 here.
Wow.
And honestly, that's just bad moves on Onslaught more than anything.
Well, you know what? When you really think about it, Onslaught have a horrible composition to burn down that Dragon.
True.
I mean, Grok, maybe the best one there. The most consistent damage aside from the Talus. But how quickly can the Talus go and kind of stand up to it? Talus is very mid-range, and if he's close enough to do his max damage, he's going to be taking damage from the Dragon and die very quickly. So, interesting. No Cassies, no Leons, no, stuff to really counter.
Well,
good knockoff.
Left contested. There's going to be a good heal coming through to be able to at least maintain some control. Where the Guab comes in with the Tempest. They go for the combo. Everyone's got the zoomies, and they find some kills off of it. I was going to try to find a rhyme, but there was no good one. So I'll just give it to you flat.
Yeah, that's not acceptable. F on the assignment, and I'm going to call your parents.
10.
Understandable.
All right, go back to class. Little root here onto the Pip. TKO flexing his champion pool and really his talent pool. Awesome to see, and actually working out pretty nicely with this team, who's very sustain-oriented and creating a lot of pressure from their front lines. Big Money. How do you feel about them?
Well, Galaxy so far has been doing incredible. 3-0-1. Well, I don't know if incredible is the proper term. He's been doing well. He's 3-0-1. He's finding good shots. He's getting decent damage out there. And when you look at the damage, Kev Falcon topping by 10,000 is a huge deal. But again, this comes down to the fundamental essence where it's just like wherever you're getting the damage, if you take a chunk of that away, saying it was the Dragon, and you start looking at where else he's been getting it, a lot of these really good shots. But they're not getting kills. I think that's the big conversion point, where it's just not quite getting where they need in order to come in, take control of the point, take control of the payload, find themselves a defense or a point just on Frog Island.
And pardon the interruption again, since we were focusing on that pip as the Immortal comes through. We'll take a look in a little bit, but part of me is wondering, is this Grok running Totemic Ward as well as far as his talent? Not sure if this is a Maelstrom Grok, and we'll check it out after this fight. Starts to kind of slow down a little bit, as it certainly has, and it is a Totemic Ward. So instead of going any hybrid, they go full healing on both the hybrid healers, which is a very unique choice.
And, I mean, I guess it helps them. Admittedly, if you're going to have, you know, Amani on one side dealing 10,000 damage more than anyone on your team, then it is going to be able to help you at least balance out some of those scales. Where to Guap, unfortunately, burned down right there. TKO, if you die to this one too, they just don't have the healing to deal with it. They don't have the bulldozer to deal with it. And no one's looking at the Dragon. It's been sitting at 2-2-2-5 here.
What are they going to do? Fernando shoots for 400 damage a second. It's like, I've really not seen, since Amani's come through, I've never seen a composition that is more ill-equipped to kill the Dragon.
Than this one?
In general, yeah. This is a very ill-equipped composition to kill this Dragon.
It really is pretty much only Talus. Maybe you could put Grok in there, but like that's like, well, the Dragon got in my face, so I can shoot it.
I mean, they kill 3 to 4 people with the Dragon, still do not get the point. If that doesn't show you and tell you the story of Onslaught versus Big Money Esports, I'm not sure what else will.
Double healing. Double hybrid healing. It works. When they're not hybrid,
new meta.
You got to take Pip and make him not do the damage that we see him do. Instead, give him the healing. He does, actually, with Mega Potion, like, he does some pretty good amount of healing numbers.
Yeah.
And between him and Grok being able to bounce out, especially in moments like this, it's almost perfect for you. It's one of the few maps I think this could actually work on well.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that you'll see, though, is the fact that, well, how many Evil Mojos have you been able to count so far? Nowhere near as many as it'd be if it was the Catalyst Pip, but admittedly, that's the trade-off you want, right?
Right.
I'm going to heal a little more. I might not be able to CC them as much, but at least we'll keep them on their toes because they have to burn your health bar 10 times.
Yeah, and you know, it's so valuable, like the resets. You have these front lines like the Ashe who can just kind of do whatever they want. You have Grok who has a little bit more wiggle room, even though he's main healing. He can focus on damage, and his normal lightning staff damage did get buffed, you know, in this the entrance to this meta. So they're fine. Onslaught, you know, kind of flexing here and showing that they have a lot of variety. They have a lot of flexibility on their team composition. And they're even emoting before the game's really, truly done, as Saris gets a little overtime rub, but here's the Evil Mojo, hopefully trying to clean it up. Actually only gets one, and actually goes, oh no! They heal to save his life.
And this is just going to be them dancing around.
Nice
actually,
knockback.
not even getting a kill there. It is the knockback overall. Ashe hits the emote. If you ask them, they said, well, they should have just not touched. Like, we would have went, like, I would have finished, I would have been emoting, would have been good. Had to take a little longer, but it was the knockbacks, it was the control. They had what they needed.
Well, that wraps up our console league for today. We'll send it to the desk to close out the show, but thanks for watching. Dave, Nick, take it away.
I thought he was going to mess it up.
No, never.
What happens if I mess it up? I mess up the throw to myself.
Then a convergence rips through the building, and we all just disappear into...
Today was my chance. I don't get to throw very often.
You're right.
From Desta Casters. Man.
We need to get this set up. You know what?
Nick,
I guess if
Nick,
you
take
really...
it away. Thanks, Nick.
You really-
Appreciate it, Nick.
You really think about it, Gore and I are the only ones who have ever messed it up because we're normally the ones who are throwing. Our potential screw-ups are so much higher.
Evan throws a D.
You're right. No, you're right.
Amount.
He
Really, I'm the
throw
only
from the
one.
cast.
Yeah. I don't
right.
know. I get to sit here up on my tower.
I'm just trying to make myself
my
feel better.
ivory tower and laugh at the
You monocle
at
and
the commoners.
laugh down at us.
The common folk messing up their throws. I don't know, dominant stuff here from Onslaught when it's all said and done. Kind of corny on the composition, but that's just what happens when you're that far out in front. You want to flex a little bit, feel good about yourselves. 5-1 for Where to Guap, running the Grok. Totemic Ward, fun stuff all around. Getting to see some of these lesser-known talents.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to get in there and break it down and analyze it, they played their comp well. I mean, they had sort of an interesting composition for Frog Isle, but they just played it really well. They sort of lulled Big Money in. They kind of moved forward, and then time and time again, we saw the front line, the jump from the pip, the aggressive Tempests, and that just caught Big Money stepping forward when they maybe should have been stepping back. And that's really all there is to it. Onslaught just playing their composition very well. Big Money having a tough go of things here today, though.
So much extra movement speed coming from the Tempest. I mean, Fernando, once upon a time, was a very popular aggro tank for his ability to stick to targets. And he lost that with a lot of card rework. So if you can give him that movement speed, he can stay in people's faces. I mean, this Fernando is definitely a scary thing to try and deal with. Snowball victories, though, in basically every game here for Onslaught. We're going to go ahead and hop over to next week's schedule. Take a peek at what you guys can expect from the PCL in next Monday. Last couple of highlights float through here. Where to Guap, obviously, with a light show performance on his Grok. Lots of things to look at here, but Aaron Monner, Stush Gaming, Flashpoint, Aerial Rise, all these other teams have another chance to have a go at each other.
Yeah, and I mean, we've had the 1v1, the 2v, or the 1v2, 2v or 3v4 kind of matchups, but next week we're sort of back to the
sweep week
1v3, 2v4 sort of matchups. I mean, I don't want to predict anything before it's done. We've seen teams that have been able to produce week after week, but I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you here.
That's right. We're going to head on over to the standings for the NA PS4 region. 8-1, 7-2, 2-7, 1-8. Perfect mirror here. Maps a little bit different. Heating up, still just barely in the lead. They were able to grab a 3-0 today as well, it looks like. Onslaught taking that forward. That does it today, guys. We'll go ahead and take a quick peek at the Xbox standings before we close the show. Elevate still on the iron march to a flawless victory here. 9-0, 27 plus minus. Nothing looks like it can slow them down in this region.
I think mathematically, I mean, not that anything would have changed anyway.
Yeah.
But I think they're mathematically in there and done at this point. I think it would require a force of nature to topple Elevate at this point.
Well, guys, thanks for riding along with us today. It's been a fun one here at the PCL. Apologize for the one little hiccup at one point in the broadcast, and appreciate those of you that stuck around for the entire way. Thank you so much for tuning in, all of us here at Skillshot. Tune in tomorrow for the Minor League and PPL later on this week. That does it for us today. We'll see you all next time.
The Paladins Console League, brought to you by Skillshot, Hi-Rez, Evil Mojo, iNap, Steel Series, and Respawn.